Let's try that again. Hello, this is Christopher Gray. I'm the creator of Highcaster. Thank you for joining me, if you are joining me. I'm the only one here because you're actually witnessing the solo play rules of Highcaster. So I'm just going to be here playing the game, and you are welcome to join me. I actually don't know how frequently or often I'm going to be doing this because I'm really just doing it for fun. So I don't really have a schedule. It's not part of my content marketing plan or anything. I want to play it solo, and I figure I may as well bring you along the journey. So thank you for joining me. This is highly experimental. We're going to see how it works in an actual play format. I'm just going to have fun. So, have fun with me. I appreciate you coming along. So the character I created last time during session 0 was Julius Dorado. That's, the name of the campaign is the Chronicler, and I was referring to Julius. Julius has come up quite a bit in the creation of the Highcaster game. He is actually the chronicler that's quoted in front of all of the sections of the book. He's also come up in some examples of how the game works, and so I've used him as examples. And he recently showed up quite a bit in the Gallant Knight game stream, Oathstar. We actually have one more session of that tomorrow. If you're seeing this live, check it out. It'll be the 17th, which is our last and final session of the Oathstar campaign. So tune in while you can. But he showed up there, and he sort of was a character I've used over the years, and I just sort of adapted for different games, and he's become sort of the my main character if I am playing the game. So I figure I may as well bring him forward into this solo play adventure. The game takes place in the Highcaster setting, and you should know that in general, anything that I'm streaming is canon in my mind. In other words, you play Highcaster, it's your Highcaster. But whenever you see me play Highcaster, I'm playing my Highcaster, and that is congruent in all of the games that I play. So you'll actually, if you start watching these streams or reading material I put out on Highcaster, and I have these a zine project that I'm working on, and all these other things happening, you'll start seeing that it's all part of the same universe, my Highcaster. So a lot of the stuff is going to be consistent with one another. But when you play the game, you don't have to do it that way. You don't have to use my world. Use yours. But the reason I bring that up is because I have to tell you what happened with Julius before this game started. He ended up with these heroes from the Whitlands. Whitlands are these this vast expanse of plateau kind of to the east of the heartland of Highcaster. And it's called the Whitlands because there's a lot of chalky dust in this plateau region. The Whitlanders are nomadic, and they have been moving across back and forth the Whitland plateaus for generations upon generations. And if you are familiar with the Highcaster setting, you'll know that at some point there was a massive apocalypse. All of the stars in the sky fell to the earth, and the stars were actually divine. They were gods and goddesses, deities, and they fell to the earth. And when that happened, the whole world changed, and most of it was destroyed. And we're actually playing in the game several hundred years after that, and society's reborn. So all of the heroes, excuse me, if I find my voice, all the heroes are back out there, trying to reforge a world that they can live in. So these heroes were from the Whitlands, and they were brought out of the Whitlands to find the Othenstare, which was the Oath Star, the star that their society tended to swear oaths to when their children were coming of age. But obviously that star fell along with all the others. There was one day, kind of recently, in the last few months, when a star appeared in the sky for the first time in hundreds of years. And that prompted the Whitlanders to send these heroes out to maybe find the Oath Star, because if that star showed up in the sky, maybe the Oath Star could also show up in the sky, and that would be their sort of the deity that the Whitlanders would revere. So they went on this quest to go find the Oath Star, and during this quest, they ended up in this region called the Darawish. And you don't have to learn all of this stuff. This is just background so you know what happened. Darawish was sort of like this cultural center, and they were at war with the Hydoni. And the Hydoni, long story short, was basically destroying the last of the Darawish city. And this is where we find Julius Lorado, who was staying in this city, because he was Hydoni and was cast out of Haydn. So he had been in this city in refuge, and joined the adventurers as they went to find the Oath Star. And they found what was called a god shard. This is a remnant of one of these fallen stars. And there was a really dramatic moment around that. And they ended up going into the shard, which served as sort of a portal to take them where they needed to go. Julius went with them, and we don't know what happened to him after that. So that is where we're picking up this story, when Julius jumped into a portal in a fallen deity. Where did he go? He was in the swamps outside of the Darawish capital. Now where is he? So that's what we're going to find out. You'll see on there on the screen I am using a dice tray. This is from owlbear.rodeo, or since I'm in LA, I like to say owlbear.rodeo to give it a little bit of more, sparkle. This is a great virtual platform. I love it. I use it for my games. You should use it too. It's free. It's awesome. So that's what you're seeing here. And this is where I'm going to roll the dice. I'm also going to show you the game book, because we're going to have to reference the rules. So this is a solo play adventure. And I know that Julius Lorado has stepped through a portal, but I do not know where. So my question is, where did Julius end up? And we'll let the game decide. So why don't we go to the book here and find out. So I'm going to just scroll through. Actually, the section solo play is, this is actually not the latest version. I need to output that. The latest version is with an editor right now. So you will all who have backed the games have it very soon. I guess I should have started with the solo play section. My apologies. And the final digital version will have bookmarks, so you don't have to do this. Yay! But since I don't have that in this version, we're just going to have to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll. All right, so here we are, a lone hero. These are the rules. I am asking an open-ended question. So what we're going to do is roll the D100, the percentile, and see what the answer is. So here we go. I wonder if I can just do percentile straight up. Is that what that is? Yeah, that is what that is. Okay. All right, so 32 is the answer. And in the actual play, or I mean on the solo play, a lot of this is up to your interpretation, but the symbols are supposed to give you an idea of what it could be. So when we look at 32, there's this sort of hidden, this roguish person. I'm going to roll again to see if I can add even more texture to it. So let's see, 43. 43 is, here we go. It's sort of like blindsided. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. So Julius is standing in the swamp, looking at these heroes, these Whitlanders bravely walk into the unknown, and he was coerced into going as well. And he walks through the shard, which is this massive obsidian wall that reaches high into the sky. It's volcanic glass. He has witnessed a cyclone come from this thing. He has witnessed an army march out of here. He has witnessed all kinds of power. He saw a crack and reheal, and there's this massive battle that occurred right here. One that he'll never forget. One that he memorized and tried to take mental notes of best he could, because as soon as he can, he's going to take quill to ink and write all about the heroes of Whitlander and what they did to save their Othensair. So he goes with these heroes, dwarfed by their enormity. They are fearless. They are powerful. They are the legends that preceded them. Julius is just a humble chronicler. His entire purpose is to observe and to weave tales that draw imagination to get as close to witnessing the reality of what happened as possible. One can't describe in words moments like he had just witnessed when this cyclone of fire and magic erupted up, and there was the head council of Dare Wish from Sundered Hold, the unicorn Esther, who came out of the portal mane of flame, anger and rage. She brought fire upon the heroes, and they fought valiantly, and her soldiers came pouring out. But that was all gone. The starve erupted from the swamp, ever hungry. Undead creatures of corruption, born from the blood of this god shard, consumed all of these soldiers. But they were put at bay too. The heroes pushed them away with their light and their power. And now they invited Julius to go along with them into the shard. He steps in, not knowing what to expect. Will he see Sundered Hold, the capital of Darrowish, from where Esther came? Will he see his own homeland, Haydn, the massive walled metropolis at the foot of the Wormspine Mountains, or someplace completely different? He walks through, dark and musky. Not what he was expecting. It's stale ale in the air. And familiar texture to that smell. There's a particular smell when ale is served in the same tavern or pub for generation upon generation. The wood absorbs it, fills the air with this musk that can only belong to old taverns. And every tavern has its own musk. This musk that Julius recognized. Maybe it was a place he had been before. But before he could really calculate where he was, he's blindsided, hit very hard across the head. The darkness remains. What does he do? Well, Julius is not a fighter. He is anywhere. He could be anywhere. He is anywhere. He doesn't know who hit him. If it was one of the Whitlander heroes. If it was Esther, the Darrowish head council. One of the soldiers that she brought with her. Some monster that he didn't even expect. He's not a fighter. So what he's going to do is try to get away. Find some light. Get out of whatever hole he's in. Whatever room this might be where he cannot see in front of him. He's just going to try to get away of what's happening. So we have our first threat. I'm going to call this unknown attacker. And just so you know, in solo play, you can take these liberties. You are also the Chronicler. So your job is to create threats. And as soon as you don't know the answer, you ask. And that's when you roll. But this is the first threat, unknown attacker. I'm going to keep it a single stage. I can roll randomly to see if I can escalate that stage level. But for now, let's just keep it like this. So there's an unknown attacker. I need to know who the attacker is at this point and if he's going to get away. But I think I'm going to let the dice decide, you know, because my move is to protect, is to defend. And actually, need to pull up. I didn't pull up his character sheet. That's a funny thing to forget. So hopefully I can find his character sheet. Oh boy, this is great television. This is why solo play is supposed to be alone, right? Oh, I remember. There was a keeper. And I'm going to actually give this keeper to the backers. There are some changes that needed to happen with it, but in general, you know, it's basically ready to go. And this allows you to play online. And it has some automation in it so that you can, you could just decide, yeah, or I mean, you don't even have to have the rule book. You can just it just kind of fills in the blanks for you. But I need to find my keeper. Next time I will remember to bring his character sheet. Let's see if I can just find it in the history. This is going to take a while. I'm very sorry. But I do need the actual character sheet. Yeah, I might have to improvise because it's not readily available. Let's try recent. Oh, I found. Oh no. Okay. We are just going to have to wing it at this point. So defense is going to be his virtue. Now, Julius isn't all that virtuous. His stuff is over in I think he's going to be he's really on the prestige side of things. And he's also not that brave. So I think if I had to choose, and I'll have to go back and look at my sheets, but I believe that his virtue will be a D4. Now, this is the lowest stat. And he is going to be, so you can see me looking through my files. So organized. The need the tray. So he also is a scoffler, and that means then that he has access to things like oration or performance or things like that. And he's not really doing anything that would help him with that. So I can't really add any of my disciplines if I wanted to. And as far as his talents are concerned, not really. I mean, he's really good at book stuff. He's not really good at, like, you know, getting away from getting out of the way of attackers. So at this point, he's really just going to get a straight roll with a D4. So let's see what happens. We got a 1 and a 2. Julius Lovato rolled a 3. So the unknown attacker is now an escalated threat. Also, he's going to take harm to his virtue, which means that he's going to be. That actually puts him towards angry. I think I might take the harm against prestige, because knowing him, he getting blindly attacked is just like, this is supposed to be beneath him. Like, this is hurting his ego more than anything. So I'm gonna add. I'm just gonna take a note here until I can get back into the keeper. That I'm going to take harm to his prestige, which will bring him shame ultimately. He's only got 3 prestige, right before he's ashamed. I'm also going to mark experience on virtue. So that will be, actually it's not called experience. It is experience, but in the game it's called waxing. So I'm going to wax his virtue by 1. And since his virtue is D4, if I can wax 4 times, my virtue goes up by a die. So I can be a D6. Anyway, so this attacker is attacked. And I do need to know as Chronicler who is attacking. So I'm going to go ahead and roll again to kind of get a couple of more prompts from the open table. Who is attacking? So I got a 67 and a 62. Okay, so let's see what that means. When you're solo playing, you should probably just have everything out in one spot. The 67 is a fist. Okay, that makes sense. And 62 is an infinity roll. So, okay, here's how I'm going to interpret that. An infinite amount of fists. That's how that's being interpreted. Okay, so he I'm gonna roll one more because I kind of want to get a better idea where he is. I could just decide, but I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna let the dice decide. All right, so we're at 26. Let's see if that gives us anything. Okay, yeah, I think I know where he is. So there was a bloody knife. So he looks up, and it's not just one figure. There are 24 of these ruffian bandit types, unwashed, unclothed, and they are pummeling him. They are just, he's curled up, and he's ashamed at this point because he you know who I am, and he's just getting hammered, and he is he can't fight. He's just curled up, and he looks up and he sees one lone figure who stops the pummeling, and this figure walks forward. They are wearing black, and a black cowl and mask, black gloves, black cloak, and their mortal fingers come out and release this very large blade. Not a sword, but too large to be a dagger. And it's ornate, and it sort of has that Damascus steel look. That's inlaid designs inside the blade. The hilt is jeweled. If he didn't know better, this looks like some sort of ritualistic dagger. And this person leans forward and says, a worthy sacrifice, and draws blood. Julius is cut open. It's such a clean, quick slice. At first, he doesn't even realize what happened. It's cold and then burning, and he's bleeding. I'm introducing a new threat called assassin, which I'm going to call a two-stage threat. We still have unknown attacker, which has escalated into unknown attackers, which is a single-stage threat that has escalated. So, what is Julius going to do? He is cowering at the floor of what he thinks is a tavern, bleeding, doesn't know where he is, just attacked out of nowhere. They're appearing there from a portal. And this person is killing him. What does he do? Well, he does what he does best. He talks his way out of it. Julius composes himself as best he can and says, yeah, well, I'm glad you found me, because for a while I thought maybe you would have nobody left to sacrifice, and I came from afar to give myself, so here I am. I do it quickly. So his objective here is to confuse his attacker and also make them second guess what they're doing. He doesn't believe that this assassin is going to finish him off because there's a little hint of doubt that he's dropping. And so let's look at, I wish I had my character sheet, but I can do my best from memory here. We have a scoppler who is using his discipline of oraton. And that means I can spend a die. I'm going to use a D8, which means I can't use that again until I rest. So I'm using a D8 on oraton. Also, I think he is going to be, this is, I think the move is a prestige move, and what he's doing is he is enforcing his will by communicating in a way that makes him, that this attacker, think that Julius knows something more than they do. So I'm going to use my will, which for, or my prestige, which for Julius is a D8, and I'm going to hope for the best. I'm thinking about spending my favor. This, well, you know what? I'm not sure how much longer we're going to be able to do it. So I'll go ahead and spend my favor. So I've spent my favor, which will give me a D6. So we have on the die tray let's roll the 21st. Oh my God. All right. So that's what happens when we use D20 in our games. But let's see. I mean, I don't think I can roll even with my 8s. I still only got a 9. I mean, I can't win with that roll. So even though I got an 8, so this is going to escalate. When I escalate threats, I put up an arrow. This is a 2-stage threat, so only this is still the same threat, part of the threat in which the assassin is with a dagger, but the dagger is escalating. So, oh, you know what? I can if I'm at a loss on what to do, I can roll. Which is a 4. Let's see what that means on the book. Okay, it means radiance, or some sort of radiance. Okay, so wrong screen. So the assassin smiles. A willing sacrifice is always very unusual. And she, as you find out, that soft voice, realizes that this is a she, or sounds like one, dives the dagger into Julius. And suddenly, light pours out of his mouth. and he starts rising up and levitating, and he just falls back, light emanating from all over him. The assassin kind of stumbles back and smiles. She said, "Yes, this is good. This is good. Ascend, ascend." And she pulls off her cowl, and you can see this zealot face. She is just wild with eagerness. And the others are on their knees, and they are praising Julius as he is glowing. And in his veins, he just feels like his blood is boiling. It's horribly painful. Forgets about the wound, and now he thinks he's just going to burn to death with this radiant light. What does he do? Well, this isn't good. This is a severe escalation. I'm almost tempted to put down another threat, but I'm not going to, because this is really the same deal that the assassin was trying to do all along. So, not new, is escalated. He is going to think back what this could be. Going to go through all of the chronicles he's written over the years and the generations, and try to understand what this is. And it's going to recount that story, which means I can use one of his disciplines, which is an Oraton. There's performance, there's lore. So I think I'll use that. I'll use the D8 from his discipline. This is, at this point, he's trying to protect himself. So this is defend, unfortunately. So I'm going to use virtue. We'll see how it goes. So, thank goodness. All right, so I mean that's a 20. That's really all I need. Okay, so I get my favor back, which is great. I get my favor back, and I get narrative control, so I don't have to roll anything. I can just decide. So as he's boiling there, he remembers that there is. By the way, assassin is still in play, so I can't really do narrative control over this, but I can at least say how he withstands the divine fire that's going through him. So, oh, and I should mark one of the stages. Marked one of the stages. I should use a Sharpie next time. So he is, he recalls back, and he has heard of rituals that people have figured out how to use, where they can infuse themselves with the power of the border. And what I mean by that is, in Highcaster, you have what's called the space, where spirits reside, or where the Fae reside, and it's sort of like, you know, what we would call the veil between the material world and the other world. That kind of world energy upon the world was one of the few things that didn't get destroyed during the fall of the stars. That is still there, and it's where the spirits remain, and that is what Julius has just crossed through on the through the portal. So it makes sense that it is sort of there and ever present, and kind of all around in this area. So he remembers then that the way to shut that down is to bring yourself more into the material world. So this is what's happening, is that the superimposed energy on top of the material world is what's hurting him. So he needs to become more physical. So how does he do that? He begins singing. He begins singing an old tavern song. And I would sing for you. I just don't know an old tavern song. But it's sort of like one of those jovial, I've been drinking songs, and, you know, where you get everybody to sing with you. And then that singing just sort of brings him back to the world. And the light just fades. And then he's now just stuck with this bleeding gut. And he's like, yeah. So he is he has done that, and then the assassin just kind of, her joy just sort of fades, and she scowls, and then she turns and walks out of this room for the first time. Julius can see because she opens up the door, and they are in a back room of a tavern. And there's some boisterous activity going outside in the other room, where there's a whole bunch of people drinking and having a good time and feasting. And that light and that energy comes pouring in. And he squints as he sees her silhouetted walking out. And then she says, as she's walking out, "Finish him off. He's not worth it." And the door closes. And it's dark. So she has left, even though there's one stage left. So I think that means I got to keep her in the scene somehow. So she locks the door. That's how she stays in the scene. And door's locked. So to get out, she has to get past this threat, and now these unknown hackers, who are some sort of weird zealot group, are now going to finish him off. What does he do? He's going to talk way out of it. He says, "Okay, I had a vision while I was in that state. I don't know what you did to me, but I had a vision, and I know what is going to happen to you." So his goal here is to protect himself. I don't want to use D4, so I'm going to metagame here, and I'm going to say, I know what's going to happen to you. The powers that you are summoning are going to judge you and damn you for failing once again. You are failures, and if you finish me off without me continuing my metamorphosis of whatever it is you're trying to do to me, and he's holding his gut because he's really wounded, I will see you damned. So I'm trying to play the fiction to be a condemn move. That way I can use my D8. So as opposed to what it was turning into, which was just to protect myself. So the rolling is always on the motivation of the character. The character's just like trying to hinder them for failing. And that is a sincere, you are failing kind of idea. So let's see if that works. We have then the option to use the D8. I am using Oratin, so I'm not going to hold back at this point. He's in dire straits. So I'm going to use my D6 under the Oratin discipline. I've already used the D8. And we'll see how that goes. So I've got the... Oh boy. Oh no. Come on, D8. So that was... Oh shoot, do you remember what it was? It knocked over, so I'm not sure. Was it a 7? I think it's a barely passed. I literally forgot what the number was, but I'm going to say it's barely passed. Barely passed. If I'm wrong, you can write me an angry letter. I didn't mean to cheat, but I think it was like I think I got a 12, but I can't remember if it was, even if it was a 6, it would have still passed. So I completely forgot what that number was. I need to pay more attention. All right. Anyway, so that is, but that does mean I did resolve this conflict. They're going to stop attacking him. But since it's not something I have narrative control over, I'm going to roll to see what happens or how they react. See, normally a Chronicler would do this, but since I'm my own Chronicler, I'm going to roll to find out. Which means I got a 4. I think I rolled that already. What is that? It's the same thing. That's the same roll. I'm going to say that Julius was accidentally right. Maybe he wasn't accidentally right. Maybe he kind of knew that these spirits looked this way. So he lights up again, but now it's not burning, and he has it's outward focused, and it's radiating, and now it's burning all of the people in the room. And it sort of leaves his fingers, and they're all screaming on the ground. And so he runs over to the door, and it's locked. So he's trying to slam the door, and he's like, and he's going to look around and say, let me out, and I will stop the pain. So, another roll, because I'm going up against Assassin, because she's the one that locked the door, and that's the last threat to get out of this situation. So, we have, I'm going to spend the last of my Orton. I'm down to 4, the way I've been rolling, and I'm basically navigating others. So I'm going to use Prestige again. So let's see, we have a 2. Unbelievable. You know, I sat here and endorsed Owlbear.rodeo, and now I'm like, I don't know if I use Owlbear.rodeo. All right, so I got 2. I need to get an 8 on my Prestige to even succeed. Yes! Yes! Okay. I was getting a little worried about my Chronicler in episode 1. All right, we have resolved this conflict. Barely resolved it, but we resolved it. And one of the guys kind of comes up with his key, shaking, and is looking at Julius, and unlocks the door, opens it. Julius walks out into the tavern and looks around. What does he see? Where is he? That's my open question. Where is he? Teleported somewhere. And one thing we learned about this teleport from the last game was that it, when you use it, it's going to take you to the place that's most familiar. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be in Haydn, the place he was exiled. But I want to see if I can get some more texture than that. So we are going to go, I got a 34. Might need to roll twice to get even more texture, but let's see. 24, fire. Yeah, you know what? This to me will mean Haydn, because Haydn is under control of a dragon. A dragon is the Empress. So he's in Haydn, and since this is the dragon fire, I'm going to say that he is in the Empress's feast hall. So he comes out of this back room, and it's not a tavern, and the reason it smelled familiar is because this is the very court that he served for 10 years. And he is now standing in it once again and looking at the dragon that exiled him on pain of death and torture. And I think that's where we're going to stop. He runs into the Dragon Empress, and he's not supposed to be here. He's supposed to be exiled. So yeah, we'll end it there. I think these are going to be shorter adventures with one person. I think they go a little quicker. I learned some things. Maybe I should bring the character sheet. So I'll try doing that next time. I also think that I need to roll better. So I didn't realize I was a terrible roller as a player. Anyway, that's the session for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you had fun. I did. I will talk to you soon.